up, y'all? It's your boy MJ the Puzzles, the Wrestling Encyclopedia. Thank y'all for joining here on Learning the Ropes on Cool TV. Uh, Today we have a phenomenal episode talking about our 13 favorite uh, Japanese professional wrestling matches. First off, my co-host and my brother who allowed me to run this channel for a while, XOJ the OG. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. When you told me this was the episode, I was like, okay, I gotta set in on this one. I'm so stoked, and it's like I scratched my head. I'm like, in the history of us doing the show, it's like I can't believe we haven't done this topic before, because this is
Yeah,
very near and dear to my heart. I know it's near and dear to your heart and Lightskins as well.
I know it's very near and dear to Lightskin. So speaking of that, Lightskin Gagin, how you doing, Brody?
I'm doing well, man. Just running around, trying to take care of business and all that. But I'm glad to be here. Of course, I was not going to miss this episode of Learning the Ropes.
Understandable. As someone who I have learned so much from when it comes to, especially the Joshi pro wrestling scene. I had to have you on here for this because yes, I know how much important the Japanese wrestling scene is to you. So thank you for joining. Uh,
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
uh, so when it comes to Puresou, I can never pronounce the word for pro wrestling in Japan. Like Skin Gaijin, I know you have the Japanese language down to how do you pronounce that word?
First off, my Japanese, it's good. It ain't
It's
great, but
it's slightly impressive.
Puroresu.
Bro,
So
I'm gonna keep it real with you. Your Japanese is sexy, and I mean
No,
that in the coolest way.
it's actually impressive.
It's very impressive.
but
Uh,
ProRes, I mean, I'm the type of person that enjoys different styles, and one thing that I've always loved, I've always been pretty intrigued and enamored with the Japanese culture and how they do things up over there, and I believe that's what hooked me. And plus, I'm also an anime lover too as well. So, just seeing the things and just seeing the differences of how they do pro wrestling to the way that we do pro wrestling, I fell in love with it.
yeah,
So, just the multiple different ways of telling stories. Here it's all theatrics, but I mean, they do their theatrics, but in a very different light, very different way.
yes, absolutely.
And the best part about it is that I don't even have to know the language to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Also facts.
Dude, 100%. I've always said, man, with the way I feel about strong style Japanese wrestling is always like it's downright romantic because it's like you say, like they're telling the story. Like it doesn't matter what language you speak, you still get what they're putting down, and it's just like it is such a great art form. It's easily my favorite style of professional wrestling, I would say.
It has become one of my favorites too, actually. Especially over the last few years, I've been really, we'll talk about, really stuff really into the 80s and 90s and some 70s professional wrestling in Japan, where it was 100 times better than what the States was putting out at that time. In ring work wise, as somebody who is a fan of in ring work, uh, but again, we are talking about our 13 favorite matches in Japanese professional wrestling history. And Light Skin Gaijin, since you are the host or the guest, what is your 13th favorite Japanese professional wrestling match?
I had to scour the earth, and here's one thing I think many people will know about me. Most of these matches on my list you will see are very much newer because again, I really didn't discover Japanese wrestling till I was pretty much, in the middle of like high school, like the late 2000s. And that is where my first match pretty much, or not the late 2000s, in the early 2000s, because I'm a class of '03. Sorry, I'm 40 years old, guys. Sorry.
Same.
But
I was in the third grade.
um, one of those matches pretty much comes from the year 2000. It is from February 27th, 2000, from All Japan Pro Wrestling Excite Series Day 11, Jun Akiyama versus Mitsuharu Misawa. And I mean, you mentioned earlier about strong style. I mean, this match takes strong style pretty much. It gives you the very introduction of what strong style is. You know, hard strikes, the whole art of making you believe that professional wrestling isn't really just a predetermined sport, that we're making you believe that this is actually real. And you know, and Mitsuharu Misawa, one of the four pillars of that promotion of All Japan Pro Wrestling before those guys ended up leaving to go form Pro Wrestling Noah with Misawa. Like I said, take the time to go watch this match and you'll see exactly what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, as soon as you said those names, it's like, oh yeah, that's. And I feel like Masawa is going to be. We're talking about
All
him a
over.
lot tonight, among other. But Masawa is definitely going to be one of those names that's mentioned frequently.
Absolutely. XOJ the OG, what is your 13th?
Okay, so first off, like when I was coming up with this, I kid you not, I literally have like a notepad here, and I had 2 pages worth of matches. Like, and I was just like, how in the hell am I going to narrow this down to 13? But somehow I did it. The way I went with it was like, okay, these are a couple things. One, I kind of wanted to do like an all-you-can-eat buffet of like just the different eras, different styles of wrestling throughout the years in Japan. I won't lie, mostly 80s and 90s is what's on my list. Um, but it was hard, man. It was hard to narrow this down, but I'm excited to share it with y'all. So starting on my list is going to be something kind of out of left field, because I had to include this match because it's a personal favorite of mine. Because one thing I've always loved about Japanese wrestling is when you take a classic American wrestler or wrestlers and put them over in the Japanese style, and you see like them have a match that is completely different than what you would see like say in North America and stuff. So that's exactly what my first one is. For number 13, I'm going to start off, go all the way back to Wrestling Duntaku from 1994. It's for the WCW International Championship, Sting defending against Ravishing Rick Rude. Now, so this match, unfortunately, is notorious as this would be Rick Rude's last matchup, as he would suffer a very serious injury in this matchup. It's a nasty bump. Probably a lot of you've seen it, but like essentially because they're in Japan where this was at, like the staging in the ring is kind of elevated on a stage. So Sting essentially does a suicide dive over the rope. Rude catches him and he lands on the back end of that stage, and it like literally just hits his lower back. And it's just brutal. You can just tell he's in utter pain. And the fact that he worked the rest of the matchup is just it's amazing, man. But if you watch this, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of it's a classic Rude and Sting matchup, but you can tell that they altered some of it for the enjoyment of the Japanese crowd too. It's definitely a lot more physical. Like hell, the finish of it too is, and I think Rude literally just throws does a jumping knee off the top rope on Sting to win the thing. Like I don't even, if I remember correctly, I don't even think he hits a Rude Awakening in this. It's just like a very physical encounter between two great rivals, two great competitors. I had to have this match on my list because I've always loved this matchup. So that's my number 13.
Very nice 13. My 13th is from the 2008 Champion Carnival, and it's a young Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Keiji Muto, better known as the Great Muta, when his non-face paint. This is in my opinion, is one of the changing of the guard matches. Of Great Muta was getting, he wasn't wrestling as much. All Japan had him in the champions carnival, and then Tanahashi was like on the come up, and he was like going to be the face of Japanese professional wrestling, and he was seen as one of the futures. Uh, Hard hitting, they're beating each the fuck up, and it's very much a passing of the torch match.
Yeah, like Keiji Muda that time frame too, man. Like it was like he was having like a like really like a ring like renaissance if you think
Yeah,
about it. Like, cause I mean, it was just like he kind of I don't want to say fell off, but I mean he'd done the stuff overseas, here in North American stuff, and then I don't think he was as prominent a figure because that's also kind of a weird time there in New Japan too, where they're in that weird transition period, and Inoki's trying to they're kind of going with more like an MMA based style and stuff, and then
yeah.
they delve into that world. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That's like a huge like passing of the torch, and then from there, you get the new Three Musketeers pretty much.
Um, my number 12 is from the finals of the 2006 New Japan Cup. Nagata versus Giant Bernard.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
remember seeing this match. I had a friend whose dad was a wrestling fan, and he bought tapes and whatnot. And I remember seeing this match and seeing Giant Bernard, and I remember being like wondering, oh, I wondered where Giant Bernard or where Albert had gone to because after he left the WWE, I didn't know much about what he was doing after. The fact that Giant Bernard, a guy who was a lower mid card guy in the WWF, fucking was flying all over this ring and doing these fucking moves I've never seen the big man do, and having this hard hitting, strong style match with someone like Nagata, who at this point was like a main star and like a legend. It's fucking amazing. And it's actually one of my favorite Gaijin like coming out parties for Giant Bernard.
Dude, that's awesome. Like that what a great tag team with him and Carl Anderson, man. Oh
So
my god.
underrated. So good.
So good. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, it was cool too when you get moments like that because I can remember I don't know if it's that exact year, but I feel like it's in that time frame where Carl Anderson made it all the way to the G1 final one
Yeah.
year, I think against Tanahashi, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it
Uh,
was the same year.
yeah, that's dude. That was that's dope.
XOJ, what is your number 12?
Okay, number 12. A lot of you are going to be more familiar with this one because the thing is, there's been some tremendous rivalries throughout the years in Japanese wrestling. I mean, like just legendary, epic encounters, passing of the torch moments, like Mike was saying earlier. This is definitely one of those moments because this is one of the legendary rivalries in all of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I would be remiss if I did not include one of these matchups. I am talking about the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 10 for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship with Kazuchika Okada against Hiroshi Tanahashi. What I liked about this one is this is fine. This was like the end of the trilogy, and the trilogy was great, but this was finally like the passing of the torch to Okada. Because you got to keep in mind, in the previous two matches, Tanahashi had defeated Okada. I mean, Tanahashi was still the top dog. He was the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So going into this one, Okada was the champion. Tanahashi coming off of winning the G1 climax. So it just seemed like, oh gosh, here we go again. And like, but no, Okada finally gets that huge win in the Tokyo Dome. That and if you look at the year, yeah, Okada it was fire, man. But if you look at the year prior to, a lot of people thought Okada was going to defeat Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 9, and it didn't happen. And I'll never forget that image too, where Okada is walking out and he's like in tears and stuff because it was just like he'd been going so strong. And if you look at the story of Okada too, because you go back to Wrestle Kingdom 7 where they have their first the Wrestle Kingdom encounter, he loses that one. You go to Wrestle Kingdom 8. He's supposed to be in the main event against Naito, but they do that fan vote and they end up voting Tanahashi against Nakamura. So there's that story element there. That this was just told over multiple years, which I also too absolutely love about Japanese wrestling. And it's not so much like you cut a promo, I cut a promo, this or that, whatever. With Japanese wrestling, it's just like the story, like we said, it's told in the ring. So, like I say, you got to have one of these matches on there, and like I say, I really enjoyed this one because this is finally Okada getting his flowers from Tanahashi. So that's my number 12.
Lightskin, what is your number 12, sir?
Well, XL, I'm so glad you brought up the word rivalry because that pretty much encapsulates my next entry into this. Um, I have to go with one of the rivalries in Joshi that I think is pretty much going to be the whole focal point of this new era of Stardom, and that is Azumi versus Starlight Kid for the High Speed Championship at Stardom Cinderella Journey in Nagaoka that took place in February of 2022. I mean, for those of you who never don't know what high speed is, the title first originated in the Neo Japan Japanese wrestling promotion. It eventually came over to Stardom, and they are matches that are basically wrestled at a faster pace than most of your standard wrestling matches. So, um, both Starlight Kid and Azumi, who have basically known each other pretty much their whole lives in Stardom, they came in roughly around the same time. Both of them are very close in age, and they both have a tremendous amount of chemistry. That's the reason why they're in a stable together in Neo Genesis. And this at this time, Azumi's still part of Queen's Quest. Starlight Kid, just getting into her role with the what we now know as Hate, but back then was known as Oedo Tai. I mean, just an excellent rivalry, and it's one of those rivalries where they just recently had a match not too long ago for the white belt, but man, these two ladies will be the no pun intended future of Stardom.
Dude, that's awesome. I would.
And
I
they're
got
still
to.
in their 20s.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're awful young, aren't they? Yeah.
Starlight Kid is 24. Azumi will be 23 in October.
That's
My
amazing.
God.
Hell yeah. I got
What
the
is-
privilege to see Starlight Kid at the ECW Arena at that Stardom show WrestleMania 40 weekend. Oh man, she's so freaking awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I was marking out just to get to see her.
Yeah, I probably would have been doing the same too.
Lightskin, what is your number 11?
Number 11. Let's see here. Well, number 11, I know XLJ talked about Wrestle Kingdom. Surprisingly, you guys, I don't have Tanahashi or Okada on my list like those series of matches that they had. I would have put
I
the
don't
Rainmaker
either.
Shock in there, but I'd be like, no, that's too obvious. But I had to go with this one. This is from Wrestle Kingdom 8, and it involves the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. It is Kota Ibushi versus Prince Devitt from Wrestle Kingdom 8 in 2014. This, of course, was the Prince Devitt iconic entrance with the body paint of him as Maximum Carnage coming out of the coffin. I mean, we talk about how WrestleMania is like the granddaddy of them all. Wrestle Kingdom is the granddaddy for New Japan. It's the time where you see great entrances. It's the time that you see, interesting characters. It's the time you see great debuts. But when push comes to shove, it's also where you see great wrestling, and that's pretty much what Prince Devitt and Kota Ibushi pretty much put on. Was a great wrestling match and showcased the junior heavyweight division. And this match was pretty high on the card. It was pretty much like this. One of the semi-main events was like match 8 or 9 on the card.
It was very high up there.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't literally after this, like maybe even a couple months later, isn't that when Bullet Club's formed? I mean, I think it's right in that time frame.
I'm going to get to that one.
Okay.
I'm going to get to that one later.
I'm
going to get to that one later.
XOJ, what is your 11?
All right, for my number 11, I am going to go with a classic Joshi match from the past. Everybody's going to be familiar with both the names on this list or in this matchup. It's just as Jim Ross would say, it is definitely a slobber knocker. I'm going with Bull Nakano versus Aja Kong in a cage. which I think this was
I
from.
just watched this.
Did you just watch this? Okay,
Last night I watched this.
nice.
Yes, they beat the
Yeah.
fuck out of each other.
First off, it starts off. Why have them in the same room and they're cutting a promo and they're just like Bull Nakano? I don't know what she's saying, but it's just like, oh fuck, the shit's going down. And then Aj Khan's like, I ain't gonna back down from this shit. And then it just once Bull Nakano makes her entrance, it's on from the get go. Like it's beyond just a cage. I mean, yeah, they utilize the cage, but I mean, there's weapons in this damn thing. She uses nunchucks and shit. Like beats the holy hell out of Bull Nakano's thighs and leg with the nunchucks or the stick or whatever.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Like this is just great. And also, I like too about this. If you look at it, because I mean, with Bull, she came up really with Dump Matsuda. Of course, at this point, Dump's retired. So she's kind of the face of and Lightskin. You have to forgive me. I can't remember the name of that fact. What was Devil's something or other? Devil's. Gosh, I can't think. I'm sorry, but you can always be. You know what?
It's escaping my mind too.
Yeah.
I just actually watched the series on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Matsumoto and Bull Nakano and how they pretty much came together.
Right. Yeah. Which is an awesome series too, by the way.
It is.
It's really good, really well done. The actress they got playing Dump is like spot on. I guess she's a comedian in Japan too. But anyways, no, this matchup's very physical, but it's kind of like, okay, so Bull's kind of like the next. The way I took it was like kind of Bull's like going to be the next face of this like just badass kind of like faction, or not even faction, just the badass in I'm sorry, it was AJW, right? I think was the name.
AJW.
Yeah, AJW. And you have Aja Kong at this point. She's kind of younger coming into things, and she is just as much as a badass. So, and we all know like the greatness of Aja Kong years later. So, just a great matchup. And the fact that it's inside a steel cage, it's like chef's kiss, man. It's brutal. It's awesome. It's great Joshi wrestling. Absolutely love this matchup.
Phenomenal. So my number 11 is for the AJPW Triple Crown Champion belts from AJPW's Summer Action Series 1994 Day 21 at the Nippon Budokan, and it's Matsuhiro Masawa versus Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Let's go. Let's go.
Two men who are legends. Well, at this point, Masawa's like building his legend, but then you have someone like Dr. Death who's been doing this since like the late 70s, early 80s in Japan, and has already built his legacy over there for all Japan. Beating the fuck out of each other. And it's not like right away, it's a slow build. This is like a 35-minute match that just slowly builds to like the end of just them punching, kicking, and chopping and bulldozing each other. And it's phenomenal. Dr. Death in Japan is the greatest thing I've seen.
Dude, spoil. I wanted to have him. I had several of his matches listed, but when I come down to my top 13, unfortunately he didn't make it. I do got an honorable mention I want to mention of his later. But yeah, dude, Steve Williams, as badass as he was like in North America was great, but you get Steve Williams in Japan, and it's like, holy shit.
Yes. But yeah, and all of my matches, by the way, guys, you can find on YouTube. So just look this stuff up on YouTube. My number 10 is a match from 1998 from AJW. And it's Shinobu Kandori versus Manami Toyota from August 23rd, 1998. I came on to Manami a year or two ago because of MVP. Because MVP speaks highly of this woman, calling her the GOAT in all time. I was like, so I had, let's watch some of her match. And she's she's, yeah. She's definitely become on my Mount Rushmore of women's wrestlers. Um, and Shinobu Kandori, before I'd never heard of her before I found this match. Um, a, a brawler, and you have this like, so you have the high flying of Manami and this like technical slash brawler from Minobu, and the mixture just comes out perfect from AJW in this match, and it's a great collective of things.
Is that the one? Um, does that go the time limit draw?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That fucking hits hard. That's a good one. Hell yeah, dude.
What is or what is your number 10? Lightskin.
Number 10. Well, I had to go back to 2021, just a year prior to my number 12, but 2021, and this was right after these two guys basically were in the finals of the best of the Super Juniors, and they had decided to put on weight and join the heavyweight division. You might know where I'm going with this, but it's Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi, the finals of the New Japan Cup of 2021. And I pretty much summarized it. These two guys were in the finals of the best of the Super Juniors. You believe it or not, they were under that 235-pound weight limit of the junior heavyweight division. And then they bulked up a bit, decided that they could hang with the heavyweights. And believe me, they've proven that they can hang with the heavyweights. This was the coming out party for Shingo Takagi and Will Ospreay because, as we all know, Will ends up winning this match. He ends up taking the IWGP World Heavyweight title from Kota Ibushi. He then, of course, has to relinquish it because he has the neck injury. Shingo ends up carrying the title all the way up till Wrestle Kingdom, and this is pretty much the portion where Wrestle Kingdom all of a sudden becomes a 2-night event where you get Will Ospreay and eventually meeting his former mentor Okada. I honestly should have put one of those matches up on there, but again, my list is fluid, like Stephen A's hairline.
Our future president, right?
God.
Jesus, God.
XOJ, what is your number 9?
Did I do my 10? I didn't think I did 10.
Okay, what is your 10? That's what I
That's
meant.
all good. It's all good, brother. Okay, so my number 10 is an important one to me because honestly, this matchup is kind of what got me back in pro wrestling. So I think I've kind of told some of this story before here on the channel, but like what happens with most stuff is there's times where you just get uninterested in a hobby or shit happens, whatever, and I think around about 2006, I just got burnt out on pro wrestling, and I stopped watching it for about 3 or 4 years. So just nothing really was appealing to me. I mean, it was just kind of the same stuff, different day. And then I heard about this new company coming here to North America that Jeff Jarrett was running called Global Force Wrestling. And I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder what the hell that's going to be. And then they announced that they were going to be they were going to show a pay-per-view simulcast of Wrestle Kingdom from that year. So it was Wrestle Kingdom 9. So I was like, oh, okay, that'd be kind of cool. I'm going to check that out. So I did, and I was just blown away by it was amazing to me. It's like, oh my God, the Tokyo Dome shows are they've gotten even better somehow. And it's like more dramatic and just like it's like Lightskin said earlier, it is the granddaddy of New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's Wrestle Kingdom, and just the aura around this matchup, man, is just incredible because so many things happen. And I am talking about the encounter from Wrestle Kingdom 9 for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship with Kota Ibushi challenging Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, this matchup, I was like, holy shit, because at the time, I was not familiar with either of those guys. And then, okay, Ibushi makes his entrance, that's one thing. And then Nakamura, they're doing this package hyping up Nakamura and stuff. Like, okay, this is interesting. He's a different cat. And then Nakamura comes out, and it's just like the aura around him is just insane. Like I've said this before, and I'll say it a million times more. Nakamura was one of those guys instantly you can see, and you're like, he's going to connect with any audience. Just like his mannerisms, his entrance and stuff, the stuff he was doing, like with the Freddie Mercury combined with the Michael Jackson and stuff, and just like him coming out, he's wearing like a crown, like a big old crown. It's just like, I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I know whatever they're putting down, I'm digging it. And then you get to the match, and you're like, holy shit. Like, they just go hard. And it's also cool because at this time frame, you got Nakamura, who's established that Intercontinental Championship and made it, like, almost as prestigious, if you could even argue maybe more prestigious than the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at the time. I mean, that was the sexy title at the time, man, was the Intercontinental Championship. And you have Ibushi, who's coming up from being like in the juniors division, and now he's in the semi-main event of the biggest show of the year for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it's like, okay, let's see what Ibushi can do, because if you look back in the time frame, like, everybody knew like how damn good Ibushi was, how good the Golden Star was, and this moment like put him on the map, in my opinion. And like I say, from watching this, it got me invested back into wrestling, to where I started watching like New Japan and trying to get, because at the time too, I think not too long after this is when they came to Access TV, and they started doing that Friday night show they were doing, and they were just showing like past matches and stuff. Like, the rest you can say is history. So, but for me, I had to have that match on my list because it's such a good match, but it also holds a special place in my heart.
All right. So what is your number 9?
My number 9, you're going to like this one, and you may have it on your list because we're talking about these different styles in Japan. I mean, we would be remiss not to mention any type of deathmatch wrestling. So, of course, I got to pull a match from FMW. And I remember seeing this. The first time I ever saw this was when FMW was first starting to kind of get into North America, as far as they put out like I think it was Tokyo Pop put out like some VHS tapes of them. Kind of around the same time when ECW with Pioneer was putting out some VHS tapes. And this tape come out, I got it, and then I was watching through the matches, and then this match comes on, and it's like, holy shit. So it is a no-rope, barbed wire death match with Megumi Kudo against Combat Toyota. Holy shit. It's just fucking nuts.
So I don't have this, but I have one FNW match.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I went with this one just because it was just like, as violent as it was just like, I'd never seen this level of violence with Joshi wrestlers before. I mean, it was just like, whoa, they are going hard, man. And I think this is actually Combat Toyota's retirement match too, as well. But this match, like I say, it goes fucking hard. I mean, it is just like, I don't even think like I can do justice like describing it. Like, if you're a deathmatch fan, and like, you just gotta watch it, because the cool thing is, I think with this too, and this type of deathmatch wrestling, I kind of dig a little bit more, because there's more of a story in it with like the actual using like the weapons and stuff. It's not like, okay, I'm going to hit you with the light tube, you hit me with the light tube, back and forth, back and forth. No, there's actual like a struggle to get into the barbed wire, and then once they get into the barbed wire, it explodes, and it's quite the spectacle, and it's a bloody mess. It's fucking awesome match. So I had to have that on my list.
Lightskin, what is your number 9?
Oh,
You freeze.
oh, yep, he's good.
Lightskin, what is your number 9?
We got you.
Sorry about that. My internet's service is nervous. But you were asking what my number 9 was.
Yes.
Again, got to go back to Will Ospreay, and this happened in May of 2016. It was day 6 of the Best of the Super Juniors 23. Will Ospreay versus Ricochet, as we all come to know it as, the Vader crash out match.
Fucking yes.
Yeah.
If you guys remember, this was the match where, these two, of course, they're high flyers. Lucha Libre is the style. I don't care what anybody says. You can view it as gymnastics. You can view it as the flippy shit. I do not care. This match, I love Lucha Libre. And I love all the high spots that these two guys did. And especially all the shit talking that both Ricochet and Will Ospreay were doing to each other while doing this match. So, and then it was it was actually just pretty comical watching Vader crash out on Twitter over this match. And I was just like, I liked it. I'm sorry, Vader. Yeah, I mean, I like you too, and I don't know why you're complaining about high spots. You used to do a moonsault, and it really wasn't that pretty. So,
And this led to a Vader Will Ospreay match.
It's crazy that happened.
I wish it would have, to be honest.
No, it did.
No, it did. Legit, Vader wrestled Will Ospreay.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
this
what?
led. Yeah,
I gotta
For
look
real.
at that.
It's it's a little ugly. Ain't gonna lie, but it legit. Didn't it? Was it Rev Pro where that happened? Mark?
yeah, they legit. Like Vader realized he crashed out too much, apologized, and he was like, "I'll give you a match." So they had Rev Pro put it on. Like, I'll go to your home company.
It's a little bit of a rough watch, but
I mean,
fuck, it's awesome.
I mean,
Vader.
Vader was, pretty much past his prime. So,
Yeah. It was. It
I
happened
can
like
only
a few
imagine.
months after I had this match, and I was like, But yeah, it's on YouTube.
I will definitely go check it out.
So my number 9 is the from 1994, the Super Junior Tag League Championship, Wild Pegasus and Shinjiro Otani versus the Great Sasuke and Black Tiger. Young Chris Benoit and a young Eddie Guerrero with Japanese legends high flying all over the place is so fucking beautiful. Like Eddie Guerrero as Black Tiger, I will say this, and this is gonna piss a lot of WWE fans off. Most of my favorite Eddie Guerrero matches are not in the WWE, and a lot of them are in Japan.
But hey, you're not the only one. I don't think I have a favorite Eddie Guerrero match in WWE.
Yeah, like
I really don't. Like, it was great that he won the WWE title there, but not one of my favorite matches.
If you think about it, like, it's moments. Like, he has so many great moments in WWE, and there's great matches too. Don't get me wrong, but like his body of work, shit, between Japan, from Mexico, WCW. Oh my god, ECW.
Phenomenal. But
the indies that he did.
Yeah. Most of my half my list
that
is
triple threat with him, Mysterio, and CM Punk. That was, I mean, we still talk about that one.
And then him and his one-on-one with Punk is just, I think those might be my 1 and 2 when it comes to Eddie. But yeah, no, and this match starts off wild because it just starts off with Great Sasuke getting slapped by Benoit. You just walk in and bitch slaps him, and then they just brawl over the fucking arena, and then they get in the ring and do the high flying shit. It's beautifully done. Junior heavyweights in Japan, fucking amazing.
I think I've had one opportunity to see the Great Sasuke live and in person, and it was a match with First Wrestling at a WrestlePalooza, and it was right before Swerve Strickland was getting ready to head over to WWE because he had just signed with WWE. So he wrestled the Great Sasuke on one of his final nights doing the indies before he went to WWE.
Dude,
I know that match you're talking. That is a beautiful match. But yeah, I always wish I could have watched Sasuke wrestle live.
He's on my bucket list, definitely.
My number eight's where I get my FMW match.
Oh,
And it is from the May 5th, 2000 show at the Komazawa Olympic Gym. And it's this man right here on my shirt, Hayabusa, when they're in a storyline with ECW, and it's Masato Tanaka repping ECW and then reigniting their feud. Because if you have not watched Masato Tanaka and Hayabusa in the ring in FMW beat the fuck out of each other. It is violent. And it's not violent like FMW. It's like they don't do death matches. Like they had one or it's literally just two guys who are like when I was a kid, I thought, oh, these two actually hate each other because they're really just knocking each other the fuck out. And it's beautifully done. And FMW, an underrated company for not just deathmatch wrestling, but they had some great like high flying and technical stuff too. Wasn't all about
okay.
the crazy shit. Um, Lightskin, what is your number 7?
Number 7. Have I given you my number 8 yet? No,
Oh,
I haven't given you my
8.
number 8 because
That's
I
what I
haven't talked
mean.
about
I
this
am
one.
8. 8. Yeah,
Yeah.
number 8.
Number 8, staying in 2016, just a month earlier. Actually, am I a month? Yeah, just a month earlier because I talked about Best of the Super Juniors. So my number 8 match happens a month earlier, and it happens days before WrestleMania 32, which we all know was a horrible WrestleMania. But I believe that this individual pretty much encapsulate how you create a villain. And it is the main event of Invasion Attack in New Japan Pro Wrestling as Tetsuya Naito wrestled away the IWGP heavyweight title from the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada. I mean, it's many people pretty much know this match as the match where Naito throws the IWGP heavyweight title in the air in disrespect and disgust because for years Naito has been trying to win over the New Japan faithful and he just could not do it. But when he comes back from his second excursion in Mexico and creates the faction Los Ingobernables de Japón, like he is basically treated it, everybody starts to love him. Everybody's and he's a heel, he just doesn't care. This is pretty much the blueprint for how we came to get the tribal chief. Like
Yeah.
I believe WWE, I've done a video on it on TikTok. Like this was the blueprint of how you get because if you remember, they shoved Roman Reigns down our throats. This is going to be the guy. This is going to be the next baby face. You're going to love him. And we didn't accept him. But then all of a sudden we get the tribal chief. Oh, now we love him again. Same thing would happen with Tetsuya Naito in Japan. This is going to be the guy. This is going to be the new face of New Japan Pro Wrestling. We didn't want to, and Japanese faithful, we don't accept him. We're here for Tanahashi. We're here for Okada. We're here for all these other guys. Naito ain't it. Naito becomes a heel. All of a sudden, the tables turn and LIJ merch just flies off the shelf. Naito merch flies off the shelf. Destino, Tranquilo, Aseneo, that to me pretty much showed just how to create a face eventually when it came to Tetsuya Naito.
Dude, his story arc is seriously to this day probably my favorite story arc of any wrestler. Like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like winning, it kind of. And I mentioned Wrestle Kingdom 8. That was such a pivotal Wrestle Kingdom. Like if you think about it from like story projections, not only for Okada but for Naito too, because Naito, remember, was the guy that was going against Okada, and they voted Nakamura and Tanahashi. Like it's supposed to be.
Without that fan vote, you don't get the character arc, I
Yeah,
believe.
you
Yeah.
don't. because and I mean, it even started there too. I think it was in the Budokan or whatever, where Naito comes out and it's crickets, which is so crazy because he was so fucking over. He won the G1 that year, and then all of a sudden there's like, nah, he's not our guy. We don't want him. No. And then it's just like, he's drowning there. And the best thing that could have happened to him is when they sent him on an excursion, and then he sent him over to Mexico, and then he comes back, and it's everything about it's so fun. It's good. It's beautiful. It's absolutely perfect.
So XOJ, what is your number 8?
So my number 8 is going to be a pretty familiar one with fans who are big fans of strong style wrestling, who are fans of especially All Japan in the 90s. This often does get referred to as the greatest match in All Japan history because, yes, it's all 4 of the pillars. It is Kawada and Akira Toa against Mitsuharu Misawa and Kenta Kobashi for the tag team titles. Dude, if you want to see like a good tag team matchup, watch this. I think it's like from 95, and holy shit, like it's just there's an epic story that they tell in this, like in ring. Like one thing is with Kobayashi, another guy who's right up there with me with Misawa. Those are probably my 2 favorite Japanese wrestlers of all time, honestly. But with Kobayashi, what I loved about him is just like you would beat the living shit out of him, and he would still stay in the fight. And like in this matchup, they just destroy his leg like throughout it. But the big story with this one is you do have Okada and Akira pick up the win, but Kawada finally gets the pin on Misawa, his longtime rival. This is like he'd been wrestling him for years and hadn't been able to beat him, and he finally gets the 1-2-3. It's just everything about it, man. It's like it's a perfect tag team match. It's the best way I can describe it. So I had to have it.
It's definitely later on my list.
I was gonna say it's probably gonna be. I imagine, yeah, and it's great. It's great, but there's some other ones I had to that hold a specialer meaning to me. But yeah.
So what is your number 7?
For my number 7, so I went with what is, in my opinion, the most pivotal match and moment in pro wrestling Noah's history. Because this was a passing of the guard, and this was like a long overdue rightful passing of the guard because, and I mentioned these guys, it's Mitsuharu Misawa against Kobayashi from Noah Evolution in 2003. So, I mean, we all know the greatness of Misawa, his dominance in All Japan Pro Wrestling, multiple-time Triple Crown winner. At this time, he's the Noah champion. I mean, he started the company, but this is kind of the Misawa kind of recognizing, okay, after the brutal years of physical matches that I've had, it's time, to kind of maybe slow it down a bit, so to speak, and kind of give the reins over to somebody who truly deserves it. And like Kobayashi definitely deserved it. And like, I mean, he'd take it and he ran with that title for multiple years after this and really was like the face of Noah when it was first starting up. So it's once again, it's a hard hitting match, as you can imagine. And that's the thing with these guys. You could literally go on YouTube right now, type in Misawa Kobayashi. It's going to pull up like about 5 or 10 matches. It doesn't matter which one you pick because they're all fucking great. So, but this one just sticks out to me because it's, like I say, it's that truly kind of the passing of the guard and the fact that Misawa is literally giving the keys of the company, literally, to his best friend, to the guy he trusts, who he knows can be the top champion of his company.
Lightskin, what is your number 7?
So, XL, you remember I said I was coming back to it, right?
Oh, okay.
This is where I get back to it. It's from Wrestling Dontaku, May 3rd. It is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Carl Anderson, The match where Carl Anderson betrays Hiroshi Tanahashi to join up with Prince Devitt, Bad Luck Fale, and Tama Tonga to create the Bullet Club. And this is where basically a group of Gaijins, a bunch of foreigners, pretty much run rumshot all over New Japan Pro Wrestling and create the phenomenon that is known as Bullet Club.
It's so good.
It
So good.
it does need to get mentioned because of how revolutionary that fucking match and that whole situation after match changed the business for the last,
I
10,
mean,
15 years.
we talk about the impact that the NWO had on American wrestling here in with WCW. We talk about the impact that the NWO had not just on the wrestling business as a whole, and we talk about, oh, there's never going to be another NWO. Yeah, you're right, there's not. But then Bullet Club comes in, and they start adding these members and the Young Bucks, who not a whole lot of people pretty much give a whole lot of credit for. They know how to advertise, they know how to merchandise, they know how to basically market to pro wrestling fans, because without them, we don't get all of these different parody t-shirts from Pro Wrestling Tees. And I know I bought in several of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's such a pivotal moment in New Japan. And the funny thing is like, even when that's happening, I don't think anybody would have really guessed or realized like how big of a faction Bullet Club was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, it transcended New Japan. I mean, shit, I can still remember, it was like Bullet Club stuff was popping up in Hot Topic and stuff. It's like, what?
They signed that T-shirt deal, and motherfuckers didn't even know what Bullet Club was, but that shirt was dope.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I believe my buddy Dedrian told the story where Hot Topic actually called WWE and said, "Hey, we love the shirts. They're flying off the shelves." And WWE's like, "Yeah, we have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
That's somebody else."
That's a guy who left our company a few months ago in his best days.
Yo,
My number 7 is from a company that hasn't been mentioned yet. Wrestle Association War.
oh boy.
Uh, their second anniversary show in January of 1994. Ultimo Dragon versus the Great Sasuke.
Oh,
Uh, Again, two of the best, call them junior heavyweights, call them cruiserweights, just two of the best high flyers in the business, especially at this time. Sasuke was killing in Japan. Great. Uh, Ultimo Dragon was doing the stuff not only in Japan, but he was doing stuff in Mexico. He was doing stuff for WCW. Like he was all over. He was going to be that guy. And these two just did what they did best and just was cruiserweight magic for a tiny company like War that I feel like doesn't get the love and deserve it gets for building some guys who would become big names in the pro wrestling business. It was like in Japanese indie. That shit.
yeah.
But yeah, phenomenal matchup. My number 6 would be a Ring of Honor world title match. Takeshi Morishima going to Japan and we're wrestling for a company called Kansuki Office against Katsuchiko Nakajima.
Katsuhiko Nakajima is another name I don't think we brought up, but definitely wrestling for Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yeah.
I do advise anybody who's watching this, definitely look up Nakajima.
Fucking phenomenal. Nakajima is one of my favorite wrestlers. And these two when we talk about big meaty men slapping meat, these fuckers are throwing their bodies at each other at 100 miles per hour And Morishima, when it comes to Ring of Honor champions, I think doesn't get the credit he deserves for taking that title fucking everywhere. Whether it be Japan, Mexico, in the States, that motherfucker was dominant. Hell, he was Ring of Honor champion and had a WWE tryout match
Yeah.
on Velocity.
I actually found some more Morishima matches later on when he was wrestling for the ECWWE and doing other dark matches as well. I believe they showed him on their Vault channel too, and they
Yeah,
were
that's where
pretty good matches.
yeah, that's where I realized. I was like, hold up, Morishima had a fucking tryout match? Was that Vault channel? I was like, what the fuck was this? And they didn't hire him? Bullshit. But yes, this company Kensuke Office, another Japanese indie. I don't know much about Kensuke Office, but this match is just two big many men.
I had no idea they ever actually met. That's sick. I'm gonna have to look this up.
It's violent in the
Yeah.
beautiful way.
Well, I agree with you on Morishima. I mean, he is such an underrated like talent. Like, and his Ring of Honor run was like crazy.
His
Like,
match was Brian Danielson. That feud
oh
is
yeah,
beautiful.
and they
That is
beat the living shit out of each other.
fucking gorgeous. XOJ, what is your number 6?
Okay, so number 6 for me, I will admit, I probably discovered this match about like almost a year ago, honestly, because this is one thing I love about Japanese wrestling, is it's like you can do you think you've seen stuff and then like, oh shit, this exists, or oh that, and you just do a deep dive and you just go down the rabbit hole and you just found so much cool stuff, like um I would now, of course, I was familiar, or at least everybody had heard about the Crush Gals, but I never really watched a whole lot of their stuff. I just knew who they were and stuff. And then, we mentioned earlier that great series on Netflix on Dump Matsuda. Like, so it was like, okay, I'm gonna start checking some stuff out. And this match to me really stuck out. It is from 1985. It is Chiguchi Nagayo against Dump Matsuda, but it is a hair versus hair match. And just the oh my god, like the fact that this is like existing in 1985. I mean, you hear that term like ahead of their time. Like literally, this is stuff like they're doing in this match. You're like, the fuck, they're doing this in 1985. Like this is crazy. Like just the Dump Matsuda was a badass. Like, and just the way that she could like control a crowd, and just the struggle with the Crush Gals, and just like I mean, it's a bloody affair. I mean, my God, Dump Matsuda using a freaking like sickle and shit. It's just like, it's chaotic. It's incredible. And then when you get to the finish of this too, and then like just the utter, like the disdain but respect amongst both of them, because it was just like, okay, this is like a blood feud, but like, all right, you beat me, so now I got to shave my hair. And the fact that with the Crush Gals, being like the baby faces, and Chiguchi having to cut her, and just the emotions on her face, it's just like, oh my god, it's so good. It is phenomenal storytelling. Like I say, it's just like, look it up. It's on YouTube. Like I say, I found it about a year ago, and I swear, I go back and watch this match. I honestly, I've probably watched this match about 3 or 4 times since I discovered it.
I actually was just like you, because right after I watched the Netflix series, the Queen of Heels on Dump Matsumoto, I actually went out. We watched the episode where they feature the hair versus hair match with Chigusa Nagayo, and went out and searched for this match. And just like you said, I'm literally in all my jaws dropped, because I'm like, this is 1985. In 1985, we were getting Hulk Hogan
Right?
and Mr. T battling Rowdy Piper. And Rowdy Piper, Like, yes, he was, sharp tongued, would quick witted, would say some things and make you for 1985 think, wow, I can't believe he said that. And he wasn't even cursing. Like, WWF was still considered the family product. Okay. And then you see what they're doing in 1985 with Chikusa Nagayo and Dump Matsumoto. The weapons, the blood, and all of that. It's just like, I wish I would have discovered that first before discovering what we got here in the States.
10,000% agree. But also, too, I will say this: it makes it all the more savory too when you realize, like, holy fuck, this was around then, and like, oh my god, now I got to do a deep dive on this and see stuff I had because Lightskin, we've been watching it forever, and it's just like you think you've seen it all, then you find this, and it's just so fascinating to me. Like, it's like you say, this is going on when we're getting like Hulk Hogan and like cartoons and like Mr. T kissing babies and like over here we got like fucking I am going to literally it's literally like we're eating hot pockets and they're having like a 5-star meal over in Japan. It's what's going on here.
Facts. Lightskin, what is your number 6?
My number 6 happens to be a match that would be the first women's match to receive a 5-star rating from everybody's favorite pro wrestling hoarder, Dave Meltzer. It was at Tokyo Dream Cinderella on June 12th, 2021. It was for the World of Stardom Championship between Utami Hayashishita and Shuri. The thing that made this so epic because they built this match very, very well. They started off, these two basically had a draw in the 5-star Grand Prix in the fall. You get to the spring, Shuri defeats Utami in the Cinderella tournament. Now we're on the final night of the Cinderella tournament. These two have nothing to fight for because they've both been eliminated. They're like, well, now we're going to have a match for the red belt because Utami is the World of Stardom champion. Shuri is the one who has beaten Utami, but yet needs to do it definitively for the championship to prove that she is better than Utami. They went 45 plus minutes and it ended in a double knockout just to prove just how awesome both of these two performers pretty much were. Just the styles, the technique, Utami being the powerhouse, Shuri being the martial arts karate expert that she is. And for those of you that don't know anything about Shuri actually fought in Pancrase. She was the inaugural Queen of Pancrase strawweight women's champion. She fought in the UFC. So
I was like, I recognize that name.
Yet she fought in the UFC and she wrestled pretty much all over. She's a former tag champion with Hikaru Shida in another promotion. So, I mean, Shodi's been all over the world perfecting her craft, which is why when I saw her performing at All In the Casino Gauntlet for the women, believe me, I got excited. When you hear that, electric dance music and that beat drop, you're just like, I was feeling goosebumps. I truly was. I was so excited for her.
What is your number 5, Lightskin?
Number 5. XL, you brought up hair versus hair earlier, and I'd be doing myself a disservice to this list if I didn't bring up my favorite hair versus hair match. And it was probably one of the matches that got me into Joshi at the time when I first discovered it. Tam Nakano versus Julia at All-Star Dream Cinderella at the Nippon Budokan. And that match it was also for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, the white belt. That to me was just perfect storytelling throughout the entire match because Tam had been chasing the white belt for a year and a half at this point. Back when her friend / nemesis, Arisa Hoshiki, was the champion. She had been trying so hard to get a match for the white belt and prove herself to her mentor, Mayu Iwatani. Arisa had to retire due to injuries, so Julia comes in, who is basically coming in from another promotion, and they start their rivalry right off the bat because we all know Julie was meant to have a rivalry with the late Hana Kimura, whose birthday was yesterday. So R.I.P. and happy birthday, Hana Kimura. And this match was phenomenal. Like, you know, Julia is probably one of the best wrestlers. I know some of you probably don't get the chance to see her featured as much on television right now, even though she is the U.S. champion. But Julia, go out and watch some of her matches with Tam Nakano, with Shorty, with, anybody from the 5-Star Grand Prix, with Utami Hayashishita. She is one of the best. Watch some of her matches from Ice Ribbon. Julia is phenomenal. So, and Tam Nakano, probably one of the best storytelling professional wrestlers ever featured in the world of Joshi. She's not just the cute idol wrestler. She knows how to tell stories and get you invested, not just in her, but in whatever she is doing, whether it's a commercial, whether it's an advertisement, or whether it's pro wrestling.
Nice.
Nice. Very nice. XOJ, what is your number 5?
All right, number 5 for me. Like, I debated on if I was going to list one of these matches because, I just feel like it's like, okay, it's going to be on everybody's fucking list, but it's just like, it's so good. Like, I got to at least have one of them. And I'm talking about one of the matchups of one of the greatest rivalries in all pro wrestling, Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. But the one I went with was the first one from Wrestle Kingdom 11. And the reason I went with this is because going into this matchup, we thought, like, okay, this will be a cool, fun match. But there was a lot of uncertainty. Because the thing is, it wasn't in a world like we know now, like what these two can do. And this was literally, as great as Kenny Omega was, this was his coming out of party. I don't care, but this is like the match that put Kenny Omega on the map. This matchup, it goes so hard, and this matchup here drew so many more fans into New Japan Pro Wrestling, especially from North America. Because you start hearing about this, and then I remember them talking about it the next day on Busted Open, of just how like great of a matchup it was, and I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but holy shit! I remember when I came home and put this on, I was in awe. Like I think it went like 45 minutes at the time. It was the longest Tokyo Dome main event, and like I said, we knew it was going to be good and great, but we had no idea it was going to be this level of great. Like, it's just, to me, it's always going to be the first one that sticks out because it surprised me, but it surprised me in a good way too. Because like I said, I knew it was going to be a great matchup, but didn't know it was going to be this next level, this next style evolving in strong style and in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I had to have one of them on my list. That's the one I went with.
Makes sense. I do not have either of those two men on my list. So you're actually
Fair enough.
my number 5. Togi Makabe versus Takashi Sugiura from Noah. It's a GHC Heavyweight Championship match from February 28th, 2010. Makabe at this time was the heavyweight champion in Noah, and he had a stronghold in the belt. This was the start of like him coming out as like one of the most brutal heels in Japan. Just beating his opponents the fuck up and not giving a fuck is just, and that's pretty much what this was Makabe saying, "I'm the champion. Fuck this company. I have a hold of this belt, and you can't do shit about it." And Segura, to his point, he put a great fight up, and it's a phenomenal match. But it's very much a Maccabi just showing off that he was that guy in Noah at that point, and then came to New Japan and was still like he hasn't been that like the face of the company, but he shows that like I can beat motherfuckers up when I want to.
Built like a shit brick house.
It's phenomenal. I like big men beating the fuck out of each other. It's fun.
Like
One thing I
he
like,
oh, go ahead.
my fault, but one thing I like about the arc of Togi Makabe is that he started that group Great Bash Heels,
That's
and then
yeah,
it eventually evolved into
Dude.
a story of betrayal when it was Toru Yano who betrays Togi Makabe. And he joins up with Shinsuke Nakamura and they form Chaos.
chaos.
Chaos. Yep.
And
The
when you look at the history of Chaos, it's like it all comes full circle. Everybody betrays everyone, just like in the beginning, where it was Toriano who betrayed Togi Makabe. And now they're betraying all these other people who they feel make Chaos weak, like Tetsuya Naito, who was formerly in Chaos. They betray, you have Jay White betraying Chaos when he was in it because he didn't want to be in Bullet Club when Kenny Omega was there. You have uh just all these people just betray. Matter of fact, Gato
yeah,
betraying
Yeah.
the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada to leave Chaos to go join Bullet Club. Like,
yeah,
go watch the history of
of
uh
chaos.
of
It,
Chaos. It's on YouTube. It's on the
it's
recap.
a
Like,
bunch of backstabbing
it's
bullshit.
just nothing
It's
but
so great.
backstabbing, and you're like, huh. So I guess karma is a real thing.
The story, the video series they did on Story of Chaos was like, and this is why I don't trust motherfuckers because they're gonna get stabbed in the back. It's
And a name you
crazy.
guys mentioned there too, like which I don't think like if your current audience like watching New Japan, I don't think people realize or remember like how badass Toriano was.
Yes,
Because everybody
Great
thinks
Bash
of him as the
Hill.
funny comedy wrestler, and he does some hilarious stuff. But dude, Toriano back in the day was a bad motherfucker. Like
Great
Blonde
Bash Hill.
Toriano has nothing on Toriano now.
right,
Not at all.
yeah,
Great Bash Hill as a faction back in the day
It
just
was.
beat
It was.
motherfuckers up, and it was fun to watch.
I almost one match I almost had on my list was because this is
And
another one with Wrestle Kingdom. I think it was 9. I mentioned because this was me seeing them for the first time. Togi Makabe against Tomohiro Ishii for the
yeah,
never open weight title. Like it was like just 12 minutes or whatever of them just beating the fuck out of each other.
and that's a faction that's packed with talent. If
Yeah,
anyone who just started watching with like Chaos and Bull Club, Great Bash Hill, that faction is like the names that come from that faction of the Japanese wrestlers and Gaijin.
really a precursor to those two factions
Yeah,
if you think about it. Yeah.
it's fucking amazing. A list of talent.
Mhm.
My number 4. I have gone on record on saying that one of these men is my favorite NWO member ever. Because he was pretty much the Gaijin face of NWO Japan, and it is Scott Norton defending the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in the Tokyo Dome. And this was the precursor to Wrestle Kingdom. They did those January 4th shows in the dome, and it's him versus Keiji Muto. And this was like an interesting time because like they had Great Muta doing like double work. Is like you had babyface Keiji Muto, but then you had Great Muta as member of the NWO Japan, and it's phenomenal that he's able to pull off double work on shows at this time. And it's just beautifully done. But this is another match where it's like you have a guy like Keiji Muto, Great Muta, who's martial arts based. He does a lot of kicking and punching. And then you have Scott Norton, who's another guy who's just like a brawler. And the mixture of talent and work that these two do is beautifully done. Um, and
That's
Scott
cool.
Norton, if anyone who knows Scott Norton and has only watched his WCW work, because WCW did that man no fucking justice with his in-ring work. He had a little bit of good work with Fire and Ice, but watch him in Japan and his multiple runs with IWGP title in the early and late 90s, phenomenal. And he's
Facts.
another man I don't get enough credit. And a guy who got his first big break in Portland.
Oh, really? Scott Norton was in Portland? I
Yeah,
didn't
he
know
worked
that.
for Portland Wrestling, and that's how he got to WCW.
I'll be damned.
Yeah. My number 3 is, and this is where we get to the faces, the pillars of All Japan. June 3rd, 1994, AJPW Super Power Series Day 16 in the Nippon Budokan. I hope I'm saying that semi correctly. Mitsuhiro Masawa versus Kawada.
Did you say this is your number 3?
Yeah,
That's hilarious. That's my number 3 too.
it's those 4 wrestlers, the 4 pillars. I mean, any match, singles, tag team, whatever,
Pick whatever.
fucking
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautifully done, strong style. They have another word for it in All Japan, and I can't think of the something road.
Kings Road.
Kings Road Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking gorgeously done.
Yeah.
I love this shit. And it's one of the matches that made me fall in love with Japan in Japanese wrestling.
Yeah.
Lightskin, what is your number 3?
Well, before I give you my number 3, I feel like
Number
I have
4.
to talk about my number 4.
Yeah, number 4. I am.
It is a match that I feel like a lot of people talk about was the reasoning why this young lady was signed to WWE. It is the tag team match from Kana produced ProMania Reach from June 16th, I should say, 2014. Mako Satomura teaming with Minoru Suzuki to take on Naomichi Marufuji and Kana. For those of you who recognize the name, that is WWE's Asuka. And it is the match where Minoru Suzuki looks like he's taking liberties and just beating the holy hell out of Kana. And Kana basically was the one who said, yeah, go all out. All right. You see just how tough that woman truly is and why WWE wanted to sign her so badly. So, and yeah, it's pretty much the reason why we call Minoru Suzuki Murder Grandpa.
Yeah.
Facts.
I love that.
XOJ, what is your number 4?
So my number 4, somebody we haven't talked on this list. This is probably one of my all-time favorite Joshi wrestlers because I absolutely loved watching her like in WCW, and it's funny because I remember this match, and then you mentioned a name earlier, and because of MVP is how you discovered her. And not really putting one and one together, then going back and doing it. And once again, this is what I love about Japanese wrestling, man. You discover something, then you start doing a deep dive, and you're just like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. But I'm talking about the matchup between Akira Hokuto and Manami Toyota from AJW Destiny in September of 95 for the AJW title. First off, they just come out fucking swinging, number one. Like, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
What I loved about AJW is there's no like bell and like them doing a standoff. A lot of these women just start swinging at each other. It's just like it looks like a fucking cat fight or a bar fight right away. Like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
you have these extravagant entrances, this epic like the pageantry and stuff, and then when it's go time, it's like holy shit. And I remember, I think within the first 2 or 3 minutes of this one, Manami Toyota literally does a missile drop kick to the outside off the top rope. It's like, what the fuck? Like, really? It's crazy, dude. It goes hard. Like, with Hokuto, she's a great scientific wrestler. Of course, the wife of a guy who we haven't mentioned yet, Kensuke Sasaki, another great wrestler from Japan. But uh, she kind of, I always felt like the two of them kind of like, I could see why they work out because they just love to torture people. So like Hokuto, man, like dude, she work a body part and stuff, and she beats the shit out of Toyota in this one too. And you get to the end of it, Toyota does win the matchup and wins the title, but like she could barely stand. Like she's got like they have to literally help her up. It's a struggle. The finish of it's great because she just endures so much and finally gets the win. And it's like you say, like MVP, very smart man. Like seriously, go do a deep dive on my Nama Toyota, dude. It's somebody you watch and you're just like, how did I not know this existed in like the '90s? You know. And once again, like I said, that sounds like a broken record, but man, that's one of the things I love so much about Japanese wrestling is like you just discover so many beautiful layers to it.
Side note, Akira Hokuto, the innovator of the Northern Lights bomb.
Yes. And if I remember correctly, I think that's the finish of this matchup. I think Toyota hits the Northern Lights bomb on her to win the thing. So like how apropos beats her with her own finish. Yep.
XOJ, what is your number 3?
So I mentioned earlier, I'm like you. I went with Masawa and Kawada because it's like you cannot have a list. I think of great Japanese wrestling matches without mentioning it. Like you said earlier, pick one. It doesn't matter. They're all fucking great, but this one in particular, I always remember just sticking out because at the time at watching it, there's so many like Kawada came close a lot of times, but I think this is the closest he came. Until he actually did beat Masawa later on. But just the physicality of this, here's one of the things. It's like all Japanese for the most part. You watch these old school '90s matches, and they kind of start off at a little bit of a slow pace, but it just gets to this crescendo where like they literally have the audience in the palm of their hand and you're on the edge of your seat because it's just like it's so crazy to me because they can make something as simplistic as to us in North America like a clothesline or a DDT, where when it's in like 35 minutes of a match where these guys have been beating the holy hell out of each other, and you're like, oh my god, 1-2, that's it. He's going to beat him with a clothesline. You know, it's just like it's poetry in motion is the best way I can put it, man. But Masawa Kawada, like I say, pick whichever one you want, but I'm in agreement with you. I really like that one from June 13th of '94.
Okay. Lightskin, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is a much newer promotion on the Joshi side. In February of, I believe, 2023, 2024, it was learned that Rossi Ogawa was going to be leaving, and then it turned out he got fired because of the rumors that he was poaching talent to go start up a brand new wrestling promotion that we would now come to know as Dreamstar Fighting Marigold. So it happened to be from their Summer Destiny show where Utami Hayashishita, who is a Marigold contracted star in this promotion, wrestling Io Sky, a WWE contracted star. And I was already intrigued just to see how this promotion was going to be. But that pretty much sold it for me right there because they ended up getting an individual who is a WWE contracted star. And I've always said WWE doesn't play nice with others. But I thought this was very cool that they allowed Io Sky to go do this for somebody who Io has a relationship with in Rossi Ogawa and pretty much put them on the map in Japan and let them know, hey, there's more Joshi for us to enjoy here. And again, phenomenal match. It was a dream match I wish could have happened before Io left because Utami was on the rise coming up in stardom right as Io was on the way out. And then all of a sudden we get it here, I believe 4, 5, 6 years later. So Again, another phenomenal match. Definitely worth to check out if you have Wrestling Universe.
Great app, by the way.
We're down to our final two here.
I know.
Gentlemen.
Wow.
This went by fast.
And they've all been great too, by the way.
Yes, phenomenal list. My number two would be May 20th, 1993, and it is a tag match of three guys we have mentioned before, but it is Dr. Death Steve Williams and his longtime Japanese and WCW tag team partner, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, the Violence Connection, versus Akira Tawa, the fourth member of the Pillars that we have not spoken about really, and Kawada.
Oh, that's good. That's
AKA the
anytime
Holy-
you get Miracle Violence Connection on anything, it's fucking great.
The Miracle Violence Connection versus the Holy Demon Army, which, by the way, phenomenal fucking tag team name.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful. But again, you get Terry Gordy, and this is like Terry Gordy and Bam Bam and Steve Williams is like the end of their their Japanese stuff. Terry was running late in his career. He would be retiring soon, or he had his problems. Actually, should I say? But yeah, those four beating the fuck out of each other, and the crescendo of the Japanese style of they don't do everything all at once, and it's just a beautiful, well done tag team match. Is just great.
It's a great pick.
Yeah. My number one, it is a match that XOJ mentioned earlier, and it is the match that made me fall in love with Japanese professional wrestling. My friend's dad showed me this match when I was a little kid, and is the Holy Demon Army versus Masawa and Kobashi. In my opinion, one of the greatest, not just Japanese wrestling matches, but one of the greatest wrestling matches ever. It is phenomenal. If you have not watched it, go on Google. It's there. There's multiple channels that have it. But it is in my opinion, the perfect definition of strong style and Victory Road, or
Kings Road.
Kings Road Wrestling. It is just fucking well done, and it is a key part of tag team wrestling, in my opinion.
10,000%, dude. It is the blueprint. Like, if you was wanting to show anybody tag team wrestling, this is the first match you should go to. Like, it's easily the greatest tag team match in the history of pro wrestling. I'd say is this match. It's so definitive. It's beyond just a tag team match too when you think about it, because it's like this is the match that really got people to talking about All Japan, because this is where it's like, okay, we're here in North America where we're familiar with New Japan because of the ties with WCW, but this is where it's just like the hardcore fan, the tape trading fan of the 90s, where you really are just like, okay, what is this? I got to check this shit out. Yeah, dude, it's perfect in every way.
XOJ, what is your number one?
I got my number two.
Number two.
So for number two for me, before I get to one, this matchup to me is such a pivotal moment in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling, because this is the next era beginning in New Japan Pro Wrestling. This also to me is really the first matchup that really showed the greatness of one of the all-time great events in New Japan that happens every year. We just got done with it. It's the G1 Climax Final of 1991 with Masahiro Chono against Great Muta, or KG Muta. Like, this match, oh my God, it's so good. So good. Like, and this is when you really start to notice, like, okay, the G1's beyond a tournament. The G1, the cool. This is what I've always respected about the G1 is it sets up and it's telling stories throughout it with multiple tournament matches and stuff, and then this you have the three musketeers at the time. So with Muta, Chono, and Shinya Hashimoto, and you have these two guys. Like me personally, I feel like they could have created this year if they had done Yodo Suji against Shoto Umino in the finals of the G1. Like I felt like this could have been that defining moment. Now, don't get me wrong, I was fine with love seeing Takeshita win it because it definitely didn't expect it. But anyways, like I say, this is such a pivotal moment in New Japan's history because it just sets off a trajectory. Like from here, so Chono wins it, and like Chono ends up, we know him as Mr. G1 because I think he won 4 total G1 climaxes throughout his history. And then, I mean, we know about Muta. I mean, Muta's Muta. I mean, come on, we all know the greatness of KG Muta. But Chono after this too would go on. You know, a year later, he wins the NWA championship. You know, and actually that during that little time frame in WCW '92, like the NWA title actually kind of becomes a little relevant again, and I would dare say because of Masahiro Chono. And then unfortunately, he does suffer an injury which would change the trajectory of Chono's career. But like Chono's another one of those guys like a Kobayashi, where like he just was he's a tank, man. You can beat the shit out of him, but he's going to have that epic comeback, and he's going to show you that fighting spirit. Also, I remember the end of this too, the visual, where they're all throwing up the seats of the chairs or whatever, and it's such a cool visual, you know. It's in my opinion, I think it's the greatest G1 climax final. I have it at number 2 is Muta against Chono.
What is your number 2, Lightskin?
My number 2, I know XLJ touched on the Omega Okada rivalry, and my number 2 happens to be from Dominion in Osaka Joe Hall on June 9th, 2018. I believe it's 2018. Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada, 2 out of 3 falls, the match that goes well over 1 hour. So I enjoyed not only watching these two work in the match, but the commentary was great too. Having Kevin Kelly and Don Callis on the call for the English commentary was absolutely phenomenal because they put both of these two individuals over. And I think we don't hear a whole lot about finishers in pro wrestling. Probably one of the most protected finishers in pro wrestling is Kenny Omega's one-winged angel. Nobody has ever kicked out of that move. And to be perfectly honest, I don't see anybody kicking out of it anytime soon because it's one of those moves that just looks amazing when you see it in person.
Yeah, I almost put that one on my list because it's so good, and you finally get the payoff too because it's like, oh shit, like Kenny finally dethrones Okada, and the way that the story told throughout that because Okada gets the first fall, so you're just like, okay, here we go again. Okada's gonna win at the end of the day. But just think of how monumental that was. Omega's got to beat. Not only has he got to beat Okada now, he's got to beat him twice. Like nobody's doing that. Like he's the Rainmaker. He's the ace of New Japan. He's been dominating like past 5 years or whatever it was at the time. Yeah, such a great matchup, dude. That's a perfect pick.
Lightskin, what is your number?
It definitely. Sorry, but it definitely shows how great of storytelling that New Japan does and just the different styles of storytelling. Like you think, okay, Kenny wins the G1. It's a foregone conclusion that he's eventually going to win the belt at Wrestle Kingdom, which he doesn't. And then he goes on like this whole 1.5 year long journey of side quests and, beating Okada in the G1 just to set up that match so he can get the 2 out of 3 falls match. Amazing. It's amazing storytelling.
Yeah. your number one?
Um, I have to go with something recent because it still tugs on my heartstrings to this day. It is the retirement match between Saya Kamitani and Tam Nakano from All Star Grand Queendom, which I have said is the best match and the best event in the month of April of this year. Um, I gotta say, I was a huge Tam Nakano mark. I loved the way she told stories. I loved her in ring ability, her technique, her style. I just was not ready to see Tam Nakano go, but the way she went out was amazing. And the aftermath afterwards, where Saya is helping her up the ramp, and they just kind of sit there and watch as the black feathers fall. And that, you have Saya and Tam looking out amongst the crowd, watching these black feathers fall, and Tam's pointing them out, saying, "Look at that one, look at that one." It literally brought tears to my eyes. Like, and that's how pro wrestling should make you. Pro wrestling is supposed to make you feel all different types of emotions. That match had me feeling so many all at the same time. I absolutely loved it. And like I said, it was a great way for Tam to go out.
Yeah, I remember that visual you're talking about, light skin. Just like I think I remember we used a beautiful picture when we were covering that in PW60, and just them looking afar and just like the gaze on both their eyes. It's beautiful. Like it's like you say, it touches at the heartstrings. Even if you don't understand the full extent of it, it's still like there's something special that just happened there.
I need to watch that.
I mean, it's Saya and Tam have a history with one another. Saya was, I believe Saya and Tam came into the company around the same time. So they pretty much grew a bond between one another. So I mean, like I said, sometimes it is your greatest, it's the people who you have connections with that you have the best chemistry with. We talked about it with Azumi and Starlight Kid. Tam and Saya Kamitani are two individuals who have that exact same style of chemistry.
Yeah.
XOJ, what is your number one?
Okay, before I get to number one, I do have some honorable mentions I want to mention. Now, I'm not going to name all the 30 ones I had listed, but I narrowed that down to 5. I had like subdivisions in my list, people. So here are my 5 honorable mentions. I just have to mention these. Okay, coming at number 5. This one's a fun one because, like, honestly, dude, like this, I had like Mandela effect with this match, and I'll explain. A counter in Pro Wrestling Noah between Mitsuharu Misawa and Samoa Joe. And
Phenomenal match.
great matchup. But for whatever reason, I always, when people like would talk about like Kobayashi against Joe, I always thought like, wait a minute, you mean Misawa against Joe, right? Not realizing until years later, like, holy shit, like Kobayashi came over here and wrestled Joe in America.
Yeah.
And then I watched that, and it's like, fuck, if that match had happened in Japan, it would have easily been on my list. Like Kobayashi and Samoa Joe, holy shit.
Yeah.
Talk about like turning their chest into hamburger meat. So that was my number 5 honorable mention. Number 4, going with a great tag team matchup. Two teams, like one of them, one of the all-time great tag teams, and the other one, a team that's just like a dream team, doesn't get nearly as much love. I'm talking about an encounter in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was in '92. The Steiner brothers against Fader and Bam Bam Bigelow. Like, this match is crazy. Like, literally, you got the Steiners doing Steiner brothers shit, throwing the big ass men around. You got Fader and Bam Bam Bigelow who think they're like cruiserweights and doing all sorts of high flying shit. You're just like, what is this? It's so good. So
See,
fun.
I love the Vader Bam Bam matches because I know those two hated each other.
I guess I didn't realize there was real life heat between them. Really,
Oh yeah, I guess Bam
makes me
Bam
kind of sad. But I have a picture of them. I literally have a hoodie with a picture of them on it drinking a beer.
Yeah, no, they Bam Bam's did a few shoe interviews where Vader would always kind of like brush him off like he was a nobody.
Oh, it makes me a little sad. But All right. Thanks for bringing me down, Mike. No, I'm just kidding.
My bad.
Uh,
I love it when tag teams are great, but
yeah,
I know there's
but
real
then
life.
there's real life heat. Yeah. Coming in at number 3 for me of my honorable mentions, I had to get. It's amazing this guy didn't get mentioned because I mean he's one of the all-time greats as far as like maybe the greatest Gaijin. Stan Hansen. Stan Hansen against Kento Kobashi from All Japan in July of '93. Dude. Like once again, it just adds more to the greatness of Kobayashi. How you could just like, I loved his story. He's another one of my favorites. Like with his story arc is just like just a dude who's tough as nail. You can beat the holy fuck out of him, but he's always gonna like be in the matchup and in the fight. And like literally, you watch the finish of this, and Stan Hansen throws like one of the sickest lariats I've ever seen. Like, I mean, it's just like he practically decapitates Kobayashi. My number 2 honorable mention. Tremendous matchup. And here's another guy I don't think we mentioned. This is from New Japan in '92. Hiroshi Hashi against the Great Muta. Like this matchup, like is a bloodbath, man. Muta is bleeding buckets in this one. It's just like the great storytelling with like Muta. Just I've always been a huge fan of a matchup where like if color is involved in it, if you've got some blood in it, like just that struggle. And not just being like just to bust a guy open, just to bust a guy open, right? Like there's an actual story behind it, and it's a pivotal part of the matchup. And this is definitely one of those matches. And my last honorable mention I will mention, and this came so close to making my list. And you mentioned this guy earlier, and his stuff in Japan is so underrated in my opinion. I'm talking about Steve Dr. Death Williams going against Kenta Kobashi from All Japan in August of '93. Once again, another one of those where let's just beat the fuck out of Kobashi, and he's gonna do what Kobashi does. I think too, Dr. Death went on record too to say this is actually his favorite matchup in Japan. Is this match? Yeah. Dude, it's solid. It's solid. But my number 1, my favorite matchup in Japanese wrestling of all time. So I've got to give you guys a little bit of a backstory on this, because I discovered this matchup in like the mid '90s through tape trading, but only by accident. It was a WCW tape I know that I borrowed off of a friend, and I'm in like middle school. I think I'm in 7th grade. I want to say, and I can remember like what I would do back in the day is I would borrow these. We would tape trade, and we would copy. You know, you had 2 VCRs. And you would copy the whatever it was, you know. So that's how I built up my tape collection and stuff. Well, like I say, I know it was a WCW show. I can't remember which one it was, but like at the end of the tape, you know, you think it's done, and then like you if you for you old heads out there, the old farts like me, you can remember like when you recorded over something, and then like like when you get to the end of that, and then it pops up like what's left over from the recording. So it's literally the end of some match, like, and it's in Japanese. I don't know what the fuck. And I still to this day, I don't know how my friend got this or something. But then this match comes on, and I was introduced to the world of King's Road, and my life would never be the same. And I had mentioned these guys already, one of their matches, but this is my favorite because this is what made me fall in love with Japanese wrestling. Mitsuharu Misawa against Kenta Kobashi. And this was from October of '95 in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Once again, it doesn't matter. Pick one of their matches. It's going to be great. But I just remember this. They're doing moves and they're doing stuff, and I'm like, how are they doing this in like the mid '90s? Like I can remember, I think Misawa does a tiger bomb from the second rope to the concrete, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? And just once again, this legendary like Kobayashi just getting the holy hell beat out of him and still like coming back. Like seriously, guys, if there's so many Japanese wrestlers I love, but if you got a gun to my head, these are my two. These are my two guys, because this is where I'd like, okay, now I'm going to start like investing into this, start looking into this. I can remember like reading through the backs of like PWIs and Inside Wrestlings and stuff, and you would see results for this stuff over there. You would, I think in some cases too, they even had some tapes you could order. Like I tried and begged and pleaded with my parents for like, my parents like, no, we're not going to spend $50 or $60 on some damn tape. It's like, no. But anyways, this is my number one. Like I said, this is what made me fall in love with Japanese wrestling, and just like made me so intrigued to check this stuff out. And the beautiful thing is about all the stuff we've mentioned here tonight, like we've said, a lot of this is very easily accessible. A lot of this is on YouTube. You could, dude. I don't know about you guys, but seriously, well, you mentioned at the beginning of the show, Mike. What gave you the idea for this is you literally were watching Japanese wrestling all night on like YouTube.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't. I've done that many a times where it's like a Saturday night or something. I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. I'd rather just stay in and chill and just I'm gonna put on some All Japan and watch a bunch of cool All Japan matches. Like, yes. I mean, there's nothing like it, dude. If you're a wrestling enthusiast, it's the best thing in the world. It is truly the best thing in the world. But like seriously, like for me, that I had to have that up as my number one, just because that's what started it all for me.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was our Learning the Ropes. Thank you for joining us, Lightskin Gagin. Thank you for joining us on this
Again,
episode.
my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, dude, it was a blast.
So let's do a little plug-a-palooza. Lightskin, let these motherfuckers know where they can find you.
You can find me on all my socials, TikTok, Instagram, Lights, and YouTube as well at Lightskin Gagin. If you want to follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you choose to call it, LSG_D Ramon.
XLJ.
Yes, well, of course, you know, you can catch me here on Cole TV. Every Monday, of course, we will always have a brand new episode of PW60, and I want to give like great praise and thank you to everybody who's really kind of come along with us on this journey and this new change that we kind of implemented almost a month ago, because like it's just really cool, because what we've seen is like a great increase from you all, like really checking out the show and digging the show and kind of digging the new vibe that we're putting down. And it's I gotta tell you, man, it's been so enjoyable doing PW60 this past month too. Not that it wasn't before, but it's just like it feels like this feels right with like us, you know, focusing a lot on independent wrestling and all these other alternatives to the Fed, so to speak. But it's yeah. So you can always catch us there every Monday, of course, with a brand new episode. We got some cool things lined up here in the next couple of weeks. We got next week you can catch a brand new episode of I'm Your Huckleberry and The Hunt. Also, right now you can catch a replay of our Schmitty vlog, which we were a part of, which was an amazing show. You can see all the action there. That is available now. And then me personally, here in the next couple of weeks, I got a couple of some shows I'm going to be checking out. You can catch me in B-roll at the GCW show in Indianapolis if you're going to be there at the Rumble at the River at White River State Park. Of course, we'll have a vlog on that. And guys, I'm excited because I am going to be, I can't believe I'm saying this, because first time in my life, I'm going to be amongst the Juggalos. Yes, I am going to a JCW show here in a couple weeks. I don't know what the hell that's going to be exactly, but we're going to find out.
I've heard
I think you're going to have the time of your life. That's what that's what's going to happen.
I'm intrigued. I'm like, okay, let's see what this is all about. Because like JCW has been really fun watching them lately, especially with this rivalry they got going on with GCW right now. So I will be at I think the Lunacy tapings. It's on September the 17th, I think, or 18th, something like that. It's in Jeffersonville. So,
as somebody who's not done a JCW wrestling show, but has done concert promotion for ICP, the band, the Gru, and their Psychopathic Records, there's nothing like being around juggalos. They get a bad rap, but it is a lot of fun.
I'm intrigued. I can say I'm intrigued. Like, I had a best buddy of mine growing up who was a huge ICP fan, and he kind of like introduced me to that world. So a little familiar with the Juggalos. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. And of course, we'll have vlogs on both of those coming to you here in the coming weeks on Cole TV. And of course, you can find me on socials. The TikTok and Instagram, and I don't do X because fuck that anymore. But I am on Blue Sky. So yeah. So that's where you can find me.
Guys, you see me, MJ DePustis, on all social medias. You can catch me every Monday night for Netflix and Raw on World Championship Wreckage with Pro Wrestling Wizard Doug and the Ring Queen Michaela. We got the Survivor Reunited show with Dad Hat. I've become a Survivor fan. Never thought I'd say that in my life, but Survivor is an interesting show. It's actually very entertaining. Uh, Hopefully, Queen's Court, once us three are able to do stuff, life be lifing, and especially with Husky and Bree, they got grown adult shit happening. So I can't we be busy. So one day Queen's Court should be happening. We'll presume. And then you can catch me here, of course. And then doing whatever XOJ asked me to do.
Yay! Oh, you're the best, brother. I'm so happy with what you're doing here on Learning the Ropes, man. You're killing it. Like this was last episode was amazing. Talking to the indies, this one was awesome. I can't wait to see what your next one's going to be too, man. Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm sure you do. I feel like I can feel it in my bones. Like deathmatch is coming at some point.
Oh,
like
yeah,
I know
I've got ideas. There's a reason FMW stuff wasn't mentioned that much because I get.
Fair enough. Hey, real quick, while I'm thinking of, I completely forgot to I haven't really dropped this yet, but there's we got some exciting things on the horizon. So we're looking in the month of October to where we will not have not one but two brand new shows debuting here on Cole TV. So
Let's go.
Stay tuned for that, and also we're working on a really cool every year we always have an epic Halloween week here on Cole TV with all sorts of awesome content, and it's cool. We're gonna start. We've actually already started working on our Halloween special, and this year I think may be our most ambitious one we've done yet. So you'll have to stay tuned for that as well. Spooky season is upon us. So
Fuck yeah.
Yay.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Peace.